In 1911, giant bones were found in Lovelock Cave, large human skulls and skeletons that measured between 7 and 8 feet in height, which for ancient man would have been rather significant.
Concealing the ancient mysteries and holding the untold stories of the past.
Remains of 2 men captured at the moment of their deaths.
The icy tundras of the world are filled with frozen surprises, spotting lurking giants, coming across buried aliens, and sometimes finding proof of prehistoric animals. Let's have a glimpse at the insane world of strange discoveries that will leave you shocked.
What is it?
No, seriously, pull over, pull over.
Yeti sighting. A Belgian couple's vacation in the snowy Himalayan mountains of Nepal became an unforgettable adventure. When walking on the icy slopes, they came across a big, furry figure moving far away. The creature looked like a giant ape walking on 2 legs, just like the legendary Yeti. In Nepal, people call this mysterious beast Kongmi or Temu. Now, Yeti believers had a field day with this, obviously. The question is, was this the real deal or just another trick? Slender Man's workout. A local hiker got the surprise of a lifetime while hiking in the mountains. There, in front of him, on a rocky cliff, was a tall, slender giant. And guess what he was doing? Push-ups. Can't make this stuff up. The hiker quickly called his friends to come see as well, and pretty soon, a small crowd gathered, watching in wonder as the giant continued its workout. Nobody dared to get too close or disturb the giant though, just watching quietly and realizing that even mythical beings need to stay in shape. As the sun began to set, the crowd headed home, leaving the giant in peace to finish its mountain exercise routine, you know. Mummified dog. Ever think of a dog turning into a mummy? Well, you are about to. Back in 1978, foresters made a shocking find while cutting down a tree at Southern Forest World in Waycross, Georgia. A perfectly preserved dog inside a hollow oak.
Foresters cut this tree and boom.
They found Stucky.
Nicknamed Stucky, the hound had somehow gotten trapped. But the real mystery was how the heck did he become mummified? Turns out the tree's hollow acted like a chimney, drying him out, while the oak's tannic acid preserved him. It was so secure even insects couldn't get in. And now, Stucky is the museum's star attraction.
Hey, Stucky.
And visitors can't stop staring at this dog mummy that smells like an old historic home.
It's actually a nice smell. It smells like an old historic home.
Mountain giants. A group of brave explorers in Peru were climbing a tall mountain when they came across something amazing. 2 giant creatures at the top of the mountain. At first, the giants were sitting down. However, they stood up when they realized they were being watched. And these explorers couldn't believe how tall and big they were.
Mamá, míralo, ha crecido.
The internet went mad with theories. Many thought these giants might be aliens from outer space, visiting Earth to explore our planet, while some thought they might have been living in these mountains all along.
Acá se ve, qué miedo.
Frozen wonder. Another frozen wonder was discovered when these researchers dug up something extraordinary. A whole mammoth body that had been frozen for thousands of years.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
The young mammoth, whose name was Yuka, was about 3 or 4 years old when it lost its life. Its body was twisted up, with its legs sticking in the air. But the fact that it was preserved this well was just amazing. Hopefully, Yuka can teach them lots of new things about mammoths and their life. Maybe this perfectly preserved mammoth mummy will help solve the mystery of what happened to its species for so long. Fingers crossed. Siberian Secret. While exploring an unknown forest in Siberia, these vloggers came across a huge, bizarre wall. It was way too big to be built by normal people. They thought it might be from an ancient civilization that lived there long ago, or maybe giants lived on the other side.
Я просто в ахуе.
This mysterious wall has left people imagining what secrets Siberia's forests might be hiding. Everyone started talking about it, with some even suggesting it could be connected to mythical places like Agartha's hidden city or something else entirely. Alien Carcass. Back in 2011, in a large, snowy area of Siberia, the local hunters got the surprise of their lives near a tree stump, a carcass, and not just any carcass. It belonged to an alien. A pale, hairless body with a big head, long arms and legs, along with strange features. It looked 2 to 3 feet tall, as if from a hard hit, like some UFO crash. Rumors of this supposed UFO crash went around, and as the crowd grew, professional investigators arrived to examine it and bury the thing when it became clear it really was an alien. So track well next time when you are in the area you know. Alien art. In the misty mountains of Utah, 2 hikers stumbled upon a confusing sight. Strange, slimy shapes covering the snowy surface of a frozen lake, with dark lines creating eerie patterns on it. And the foggy air further added to this spooky atmosphere. Curiosity soon overcame their caution. What they found spread in a 5-foot radius, perfectly round, icy circles that looked like they belonged in a science fiction movie. Gently touching the cold, gelatinous substance,
Can't touch it.
they noticed tiny holes radiating from the center of each circle as well. Some believed they had found alien eggs, meaning aliens may exist after all, and some are still visiting Earth. Giants of cave. In 1911, 2 miners made an incredible discovery in Lovelock, Nevada. While searching for bat droppings in a cave, they ended up finding 40 huge skeletons. And these weren't just any ordinary bones. Some were between 7 and 8 feet tall. What made the find even stranger was that these giants had red hair, unlike the local Native Americans. The Paiute people told stories about tall, red-haired cannibals called Saidukaa who lived long ago. And that's not all. This cave held even more surprises. Giant sandals, big clothes, and other items made for these very tall people supposedly. Though many bones were lost, some big skulls stayed in a museum for years. Now they all are well preserved in a museum to make people wonder if the old stories about giants might be true after all. Minnesota Iceman. In the 1960s, a local made a shocking discovery in a remote area. A large frozen figure trapped in ice. 6 feet tall, it resembled a hairy, barrel-chested ape with an upturned nose, large nostrils, and a flat forehead. Its prominent eyebrow ridges, thick neck, and large hands and feet made it look almost human, but not quite. Scientists named it Homo pomeroi. As news spread, crowds gathered to see this mysterious beast, believed to be the missing link between humans and ancient apes. The excitement grew as scientists examined it and declared it the Minnesota Iceman. However, its origin and how it went there still remain a thrilling mystery. Overhead Sasquatch. In 2022, a YouTuber was looking for bears with his drone when he saw something unbelievable. Instead of cute bear cubs, his drone camera caught sight of a huge 2-legged animal walking through the snowy woods. It looked just like the legendary Sasquatch. The footage showed it was moving calmly through the trees as if it didn't have a care in the world. This amazing sky-high sighting left everyone with wonder, and even more questions about its existence. Giant's snowy surprise. One winter morning, a worker was busy clearing snow when he noticed something odd far away. A big shape. Suddenly, he heard a loud crack. To his horror, a tall tree was ripped from the frozen ground, as if pulled by invisible hands. The worker was stunned to say the least, wondering if it was the legendary Bigfoot or another unknown creature with immense strength. The scene lasted for a couple of minutes, and then that ripped tree came back to its original place, as if nothing had happened there. Dragon sighting. A hiker in the South Siberian mountains was walking through the woods when something unbelievable caught his attention. A giant creature with wings flying above the trees. It looked just like the dragons from fairy tales. The huge beast flew around for 2 minutes, giving the hiker enough time to hide behind a tree. Luckily, it didn't harm the hiker and flew away. And this incredible sighting left him wondering, could dragons really exist in the remote mountains of Siberia? Snowy Sasquatch. While hiking through the snowy mountains near St. Elmo, Illinois, when his worst nightmare came true in the form of a real-life monster. As he was hiking, he spotted this massive figure moving towards some nearby trees. So he quickly pulled out his camera and started recording. Though as he zoomed in, he saw it was none other than a giant Sasquatch. Scared out of his mind, man still wanted to get a closer look. Gotta say, he had guts. Sadly, the Sasquatch had other plans as it disappeared behind the trees. But he would remember this encounter for the rest of his life, that's for sure. Lizard creatures. On a winter day, snow surfers spotted 2 very odd creatures, resembling giant lizards with bumps on their backs and thick tails. They were busy walking near the snow. Seemed like they were in search of shelter from the cold weather. Questions raced through their minds. Were these new species of animals, or just a couple of visitors from another world? Though before anyone could approach them, they vanished, leaving only footprints and curiosity behind. Frozen monster.
I can understand. What is that thing?
While digging through the snowy mountains for his research, this guy was busy examining the area when his detector started beeping wildly.
Wow, we got something.
Curious, he dug through the snow and found something shocking under the ice. A monster's face. It had huge eyes bulging out and a red tongue stuck to the ice.
Seems to be very dangerous.
He quickly called for help. Rescuers came and dug up the whole area, finding the species' entire body. It definitely gave off an otherworldly vibe. Was this an alien or some unknown monster? What do you think? Bigfoot Hunter's tale. In the woods of Texas, a hunter said he did something no one had ever done before. He set up a clever trap using pork ribs and deer scent to attract a creature. And he did it. There stood an enormous, hairy beast, 8 feet tall and weighing around 800 pounds. He said that he aimed at it, which he nicknamed Hank, caught that legendary Bigfoot, and ended its life. To prove his story, he also showed photos of a furry body and even took it on tour in a coffin. Many people paid to see it. In the end, Rick's Bigfoot turned out to be just another tall tale in the world of monster hunting. Everest Enigma. In November 1951, 2 daring explorers were working on a glacier close to Everest Base Camp, when out of nowhere they saw something incredible. Large, unusual footprints in the snow.
Find any footprints at such high altitude was simply inexplicable.
The prints measured around 12 inches long and 5 inches wide. As it turns out, it was a Yeti footprint. People started calling it the Abominable Snowman. And this amazing discovery sparked a global fascination with the Yeti that continues even today. Sardinias Secrets. In 1974, a farmer was working in his field in Monteprama, Sardinia, when suddenly his plow hit something hard, and it wasn't just a rock. After digging it out, he found a massive stone head of an ancient statue staring back at him with shiny black eyes. This led to a big dig where archaeologists were called, and they found over 5,000 pieces of huge statues. These 9-foot-tall stone giants showed warriors, archers, and boxers. People called them the Giants of Monteprama, and it might just be the evidence that real giants once lived in Sardinia. Frozen fox. A frozen scene stopped these passersby in their tracks. There, encased in a block of ice, stood a fox, a haunting reminder of nature's unforgiving power.
Eerie reminder that nature is so cruel.
4 days ago, a hunter in Germany discovered it in the ice of the Danube River and displayed it outside his family hotel in Friedingen. This display served as a warning about the dangers hiding beneath seemingly solid ice. While some found it unsettling, others appreciated the beauty of the perfectly preserved creature, adding to the eerie appeal of the scene. Mammoth treasure hunt. As the frozen ground started to melt, every now and then something amazing ended up happening there. In places like Yakutia, locals are discovering things from long ago, like large tusks and bones from woolly mammoths that roamed the earth long ago. And some of these tusks are so heavy, they can weigh up to 132 pounds. Locals are digging for these treasures to sell, sometimes earning a lot of money. Experts are excited too because they can learn about ancient animals. But there's a problem. The melting ice is also causing trouble for buildings and releasing harmful gases. This mammoth treasure hunt shows how climate change brings surprises and challenges to Siberia. Arctic mystery. You may have seen explorers trying to achieve the impossible, but think about trying to get to the North Pole in a hot air balloon. That's what a bold Swedish explorer named André and his 2 friends attempted in 1897. Even after being warned, they still did it. For more than 30 years, their fate had been a mystery. Then in 1930, explorers uncovered an unexpected discovery: the remains of André and his friends, along with old photos that shared their sad story and tragic end. Their balloon had crashed just 2 days after takeoff, and the men lost their lives while trying to walk back home. This discovery finally answered a mystery that had puzzled people for years, highlighting the risks of exploring the Arctic. Icy discovery. While searching for woolly mammoth bones, the investigators found Siberia's icy Batagai crater instead, a horse known to be 40,000 years old. It was a perfectly preserved baby horse from an extinct species called the lens cave. It looked like the foal had just fallen asleep on the ice. Investigators carefully examined the ancient species, measuring and studying it. This incredible discovery will help them understand what the world was like during the Ice Age. After their study, they might give the frozen foal to a museum, where it will be preserved for future generations to see and learn from. Prehistoric Find. A fisherman's ordinary day turned extraordinary when he found something unbelievable in a dried-up riverbed. Instead of fish, he caught a massive skull sticking out of the gravel. It had huge, wide horns, unlike anything he'd ever seen before. Paleontologists took the skull for further study and later confirmed it was indeed the skull of an Ice Age bison, possibly 10,000 years old. The fisherman's lucky day turned into a prehistoric discovery. It was a catch of a lifetime for sure. Antarctic Wonderland. Some Australian scientists sent a special robot under the icy waters of East Antarctica. They hoped to see what was hiding beneath the frozen surface. And what they found was like an underwater rainbow. The robot's camera showed a world full of colorful plants and sea creatures. It looked like a magical underwater garden. This footage allowed people to experience a side of Antarctica they never knew existed. Bleeding Glacier. While exploring Antarctica's dry valleys, this group came across a bizarre sight, a bright red waterfall bursting from a glacier. They named it Blood Falls, but it wasn't blood though. The water was super salty and rich in rusty iron. Surprisingly, it flowed at temperatures far below freezing and seeped into an ice-covered body of water called Lake Bonny. Excited, they investigated further and uncovered an underground world of salty water and tough little microbes, hidden beneath the ice for millions of years. This suspicious waterfall might hold clues about life on icy moons, offering insights into how creatures could survive in the harshest environments in our solar system. Exciting, right? frozen birds. A local man was taking his usual walk in the park when he saw something weird on the snowy steps there. At first, he thought some birds were sitting there, but as he got closer, he realized something was really off. Throwing caution to the wind, he touched and applied force on them, and one by one, the snow fell off. Were these some new kinds of snow beings? Or had the snow converted the birds into frozen ones? Feeling spooked, the man quickly left the park and went home, though I'm sure he will remember this experience all his life. Frozen dinosaur. An experimenter was hiking through the snow when he felt something odd beneath his feet. His special detector began beeping, indicating something was hidden below. Excited, he started brushing away the snow. Under a layer of ice, there was a creepy face with big eyes and sharp teeth. Soon, a team of scientists arrived and carefully dug out the entire body, perfectly preserved in the ice like a time capsule from millions of years ago. It was a frozen dinosaur! Mammoth Discovery. A gold miner in Canada was digging through the frozen ground when he found something way better than gold. He couldn't believe his luck. Hidden in the ice was a baby woolly mammoth. And these weren't just any old bones. The baby mammoth still had its skin and hair.
I found the baby which still had its skin and hair.
Perfectly preserved for 30,000 years. It was like the Ice Age had never ended for this little being. Experts think it once roamed with wild horses and cave lions long ago. But now, the baby mammoth had a new home in a museum. Frozen Bigfoot. A local shared an incredible story about his father's unusual find. Back in September 1953, his dad came across something extraordinary. A real Bigfoot.
When they acquired them, they were so immense that they had no other choice.
The creature was so big, they had to freeze it to keep it safe. And now, after 65 years in that freezer, they let it out and showed it to the world. It was over 6 feet tall and covered in brown fur, with strong muscles and a long body. Oddly enough, though, the creature's feet were smaller than expected, about the size of a human. And pretty soon, the guy planned to hand it over to a museum for the visitors to come and study this rare find of his. Winged wonder. A local worker was busy in his factory when, one day, out of nowhere, he heard strange noises. Curious, he went to check it out, and what he saw next was unbelievable. A black Pegasus, just like the one we have read about in Greek myths. Now, this worker was so amazed that he grabbed a rope and gently led the magical horse out of the building and called his co-workers to see this incredible sight as well. As everyone stood in wonder, watching the stunning winged horse. Soon after, the Pegasus opened its grand wings and flew into the sky, and left these workers with a story they'd never forget. A secret world. While hiking through snowy mountains, a group of friends stumbled upon a deep, mysterious hole in the snow that seemed to lead somewhere. A secret world, perhaps. Curiosity got the better of one brave hiker who decided to climb down and take a look inside. And below the thick blanket of snow was a hidden land that really did look like a secret world all its own. And some people thought that it might be an entrance to Agartha, a legendary hidden city. Tell us what you think this is. Really Agartha, or someplace else entirely? Mountain mystery. Have you ever seen a real-life monster in the woods of a mountain? In April 2024, after 2 weeks of monitoring, a trail camera finally captured an incredible sight. A huge, furry creature resembling Bigfoot pulling branches in an area sealed off for a police investigation. It was spotted near the human remains that belonged to a man named Donald Bigcalf were found. The sighting referred to a similar case that took place in the Canadian Rockies, where locals reported a Bigfoot attack earlier. After a while, the powerful Bigfoot slowly disappeared behind the trees, leaving only questions and curiosity in its wake. Cave creature. Ever felt like you are being watched in the dark? That's exactly what happened to these archaeologists exploring the ancient caves. While studying ancient civilizations, they suddenly felt ears on them. They sheened their flashlights around, and what they saw next gave them goosebumps. There, hiding in a nearby cave, was a giant being that looked just like the Sasquatch. The huge, hairy beast stared creepily, with only its face visible, as if telling them to go away. The scared archaeologists didn't want to upset it, so they quickly left the area, running for their lives. Frozen feast. A local spotted something amazing in a frozen lake, a pikefish eating a bass, and both were frozen solid in the ice. They quickly called ice cutters, and the group gently removed the ice block and placed it in regular water. Though as the ice melted, the scene transformed. The pike and bass began to move, surprising everyone around. They watched in wonder as the pike slowly released its grip on the base, and both fish swam away, seemingly unharmed. What a sight, right? Sand River. Think of seeing a river, but instead of water, it's just flowing sand. This amazing natural wonder took place in Iraq. Though it looked just like a river, it was made entirely of sand moving fast like water. You may have seen water rivers before, but a sand river? I think not. Snow Dragon. While trekking through a snowy landscape, a bunch of explorers encountered an incredibly long skeleton. It was so huge that they thought it might be from a dragon or some ancient platypus-like creature. Nobody knew exactly what it was, which made this discovery even more exciting and scary. The bone experts carefully took the mysterious skeleton to their research center for a closer look, yet no answers to this mystery have been given yet. Pony and Ice. In 1968, deep underground, miners spotted something strange poking out of the icy ceiling. 2 legs and a tail. Analysts believe the poor creature got stuck in the mud, found standing with its legs spread out, trying to keep its head above the muck. Sadly, its head was missing, possibly eaten by a hungry animal. It turned out to be the Silurican pony, a horse that lost its life between 35,000 and 39,000 years ago after a complete study by scientists. This frozen pony offers a glimpse into the past, showcasing what horses looked like thousands of years ago. A true time capsule, right? Wolfhead. In a frozen land far away, a Russian man made an incredible discovery: the head of a giant wolf. This wasn't just any wolf head, though. It was 40,000 years old, its fur still wet, its tongue dry, and even its brain intact after all this time. The head measured about 40 centimeters long, much bigger than modern wolves. They believed this wolf was a full-grown male, around 2 to 4 years old when it passed away, and are hopeful that they can reconstruct its appearance to show the world and preserve it, helping us learn how wolves have changed over thousands of years, like piecing together a puzzle from the distant past, no less. Alligators' icy survival. In a frozen swamp in North Carolina, something amazing happened when a worker who worked at Shalott River Swamp Park noticed something odd poking out of the icy surface. At first, he thought they were tree stumps, but then he saw teeth.
Amazing survival technique.
It was the alligators' noses sticking up through the ice. These smart reptiles had figured out how to breathe even when the water freezes over. They slow down their body temperature and breathing underwater, poking just their noses out for air. The worker broke some ice to give them more space. Soon, when it warms up, these clever alligators will be back to sunbathing and enjoying life in the swamp. Pompei's frozen moment. On a staircase in an old abandoned villa, a bunch of archaeologists found something weird and creepy. 2 skeletons that had been there for nearly 2,000 years.
Scientists made casts of the skeletons to help get a better picture of who these people were.
One skeleton belonged to a wealthy man, aged 30 to 40, while the other was a younger fellow, just 18 to 25 years old, and was caught when Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD and covered the city with ash. This terrible event helped save Pompei, showing us how people lived back then. Now, these molds remind us of the lives lost that day, giving us a peek into the past. The subscriber's pick. In April 2022, a video shocked the internet when a TikTok user claimed to have seen a giant in the mountains.
Hey, is this really a giant?
Andrew shouted in the video, saying it was there. His video quickly gained attention, and everyone wanted to see that giant. Later, to show the people, he filmed a UFO and claimed CIA agents were trying to silence him. Maybe they didn't want the people to know about UFOs and aliens, so they might get scared. But then, in July, a notice appeared announcing he had passed away. Was it true, or just part of a massive cover-up? The mystery continues, leaving everyone on edge, wondering what really happened to that TikToker and UFO.